I was teaching science one day. I was going through the weather patterns inside of teaching them about the condensation, evaporation, and precipitation. I'm telling them about a tornado and a hurricane and a tsunami. The little girl raises her hand and said, "Mr. Bonner, you forgot an actual weather pattern." She was like, "No, Mr. Bonner, you're wrong. You forgot one. You forgot the one called a hornado." Babe, what are you talking about, Mr. Bonner? It's a hornado, Mr. Bonner. A hornado is when a hurricane and a tornado come together and it makes a hornado. Whoever told you that, don't you ever listen to them ever in your life again. Right? Next thing I know is, children, if they're feeling a little bit embarrassed, she becomes like she's offended a little bit. She looks at me, her face frowns up. This second grader looked at me, you all, stuck up her middle finger, stuck her tongue out, and rolled her eyes at the same time. It was the most disrespectful combination I've ever seen. You should try it under the table. It's difficult more than what you think, right? I was like, who are you disrespecting, right? So next thing I know, I said, you know what, I'm gonna get her this time. Because I quickly found out as teachers, you can set yourself up if you decide to discipline a child publicly. I decided to handle it privately. I got on the phone with Mom. "Mom, I need your help. Your daughter just stuck up her middle finger and her tongue out at me. Can I come to the house after so we can talk about this?" She's like, "Sure, Mr. Bonner, come on by." It's a neighborhood school, so I was able to just get in my car and ride out to the house. I get there, I'm excited. The mom opens up the door. "Hello, Mr. Bonner." I'm like, "Nope, I'm not here for that. Don't you try to..." "I'm here to talk about your daughter, okay?" Talk to the mom, we're having a good conversation. All of a sudden you hear this loud noise in the background and the little girl is starting to run out, and all of a sudden when she recognizes it's Mr. Bonner at the door, she was terrified. Absolutely terrified. The next day, she was perfect. She was absolutely perfect, but she was perfect because I sat down and I looked her mother in the eye, and come to find out, her father had just went to jail or prison. And I had to let her know, I'm not going to punish you for the decisions your father made. Anything that I can do to make sure your child is supported, to make sure she has the best learning experience possible, please allow me to know. Next thing I know, for the rest of the year, she was absolutely amazing. She went on to the next grade, and it sort of went backwards. People came to Mr. Bonner, "How in the world did you get her to behave for you? Is it because you stand on top of tables that you dance?" "No, I almost bust my head standing on top of a table one day." You don't have to stand on top of a table to engage a child. Every teacher that I know and every great teacher I know lives by this quote here: "You can't demand a withdrawal from somebody you have never invested in." And one of the biggest pet peeves of mine as an educator is when I hear teachers complaining about a student and you don't know who that student is, where the student comes from, the background of that student, the trauma they may be dealing with, and then we sit on our high horse and decide to judge them as if we would act different if we were in that same situation.